Howdy nerds, another day here at Gone Rogue Games. You can see my mess. I think we finally have got the last of this. Maybe there's one more shipment of this big July online sale that happened from one of the distributor for what I've been talking about in the last few videos for the what I like to call the failed products of 2021 through 2023. We'll talk more about that in this video, and I'm going to give kind of my perspective of what's going on right now in the market. So we are not really in a bear or a bull market with Pokemon Magic the Gathering. And to be honest, I actually like it. So let me give you the history of the two most frustrating times as a store owner, as someone that's been in this market, is definitely the total bull market of, you'd think that the bull market of 2021 and 2022, or 2020, 2021 we should say, was amazing for stores. Yes and no. So looking at Pokemon, like all the Pokemon product that has been building up, this was a direct result of me not being able to get Pokemon and trying to increase my numbers with distributors to the point that I could actually have them actually, get booster boxes. So the problem with Pokemon is you have to take everything that typically people don't want to take, like all the other add-on stuff. The ETBs are typically pretty good, but you need to take the build and battles. You need to take these things like the what are these suckers called? The V-Star battle boxes, VMAX battle boxes, things like that are typically per pack not as good of a value as booster boxes, as well as you can't really sell them online because the shipping alone will cost too much. You have to compete with people that I don't even know how they make profit margins on this sort of stuff. So a lot of times these are things that are just better to break down or just wait till they sell locally. So thankfully I sell like a couple of these per week at my store, and so in my opinion it's better to get MSRP than try to break these down and blow them online. Now again, it's just the age-old argument of what's better, a cash flow business or kind of a business that's waiting for better profit margins. And I particularly don't like cash flow businesses as much as other people do. Typically speaking, that you're just going to take everything that comes in, blow it out, and if you make profit on it, you just let the market decide. It's basically, okay, I'm going to be as emotionless to this as possible, or not have any foresight or planning or anything. We're just gonna let the market, the tide of the market, work. So I'm gonna buy everything, sell it all. What it sells for, and I'm just gonna have the assurance that usually things go for a profit. So I'm gonna make out like a bandit on Ixalan, collectors of boosters, but I'm gonna lose my shirt on Murders of Karlov Manor. And that's kind of the topic of this video I'm gonna talk about, is like, I particularly do not like that sort of business, because if you actually do the numbers, let's just take an example of Murders of Karlov Manor versus Ixalan. So Ixalan sold, and this would have had to require some patience, because if you were a cash flow business and sold with Ixalan collector boosters, you had actually made barely. They were selling for like $225. I think they did bottom out at like $215. So at that point, you're making very little profit margins if you're buying from a distributor, selling on TCG Player. I mean, you come away with 5-10% profit margin. You spend like, we'll say $10,000. You make $1,000, we'll say, in that one. Okay, then Karlov Manor comes out, and it's a massive race to the bottom. And you try to sell it, and it goes all the way down to $100, which is now. So if you had Murders of Karlov Manor and had any sort of decent quantity of that, it's all the way back down to $100. And so if you were this business that just tried to wash things as quick as possible, then you would have lost $15,000 on, or not 15,000, $5,000 on that $10,000 investment. And that's where I like this sort of market that we're in now. I think is so much more preferable than either a bear market or a bull market, because both of those have been very frustrating with me as a brick and mortar store. Wants to try to have like decent margins, wants to make customers happy that, having product that they want. So they come in the store, they're looking for something specific, we have it, and we can also sell it to them at a comfortable price that they're, willing to pay. And so during the kind of bull market of 2020, 2021, it was so impossible to get inventory. And yes, if we could get inventory, it would sell for a ton. But that was the problem, was getting inventory. So that just led to frustration, led to lack of growth, led to, upset customers, upset me, upset distributors. Everyone just was a bad feeling because there just wasn't enough for us. If we could get product, great profit margins, feels good, sort of, because then people felt like they were overpaying for things, that type of stuff. It was the pendulum swings too far that way. And then after the crash of that bull market into the bearish market of 2022, it was kind of the opposite spectrum, where I was expected to take so much product, you couldn't make any money on that. It was so hard to keep your numbers up with distributors, to keep the distributors happy. Customers would then want price matching with online, and it was like, no, can't do it, because at this point it's not justifiable to be trying to lose money on products. And it just led to, of course, lack of growth, upset customers, and whatnot. So now we're kind of in this like mix market where I don't think we're in really a bear or a bull. We're in kind of this like some products are doing well, some products are doing terrible. And this is still a little bit different than 2018 prior eras where there was definitely winner and loser products, but those had some little ebbs and flows. I do remember the Iconic Masters time period where like Iconic Masters and Masters 25 was a huge dud. And it led to, a lot of people losing their shirts on that because every master sets at that point just, sold like liquid gold. And then this one was just overprinted too quickly, not a good enough reprints. And then people were getting sick of reprints at that point, and it just led to, one of the worst collapses at that point for, the MG market at that point had been so stable and healthy. And so I prefer, of course, this market because this is where I think like knowledge comes in handy. So this is why I am really liking this comparatively to a lot of those cash flow businesses that I talked about, because I believe the cash flow businesses, and again, they do have a purpose, and people that do this online sort of grind, more power to them. What I'm talking about is you just take a product and emotionlessly sell it, and again, the market just decides what it is. And so at this point, though, I don't think that that's like a business model that's very lucrative at this point. I think right now is perfect for being a savvy, buyer, of getting ahead of the trends, knowing what products are actually selling, and knowing exactly where to put your money and being patient with it. So you can actually make those margins that make sense. And that is the name of the game. If you would have held on to those Ixalan collectors, then they would have sold for $300 or above. If you would have held on to, if you would have sold the Bloomborough right off the gates, what were they going for, 220? Now they're going for 240s. Like all those things, I think is definitely a breath of fresh air to, and it's where it should be. In my opinion, this is exactly where the market should be because it does favor like people that actually have skin in the game. What I got really frustrated with this particular industry was when the online sellers became so prevalent, because it was just like everyone wanted to do this sort of emotionless cash flow online business where you didn't have to have overhead, you didn't have to have a local game store, you didn't have to invest in play space, which I think is super important to the overall health of the game. And I'll talk till I'm blue in the face of why I think the local game stores matter, why the distributors and manufacturers should make it their priority to make sure that local game stores can make healthy margins on their product. And because I think that inevitably the ecosystem of the local game store is what drives these games. So without it, I think that you just have kind of a lackluster product. Of course, people can buy them at big box stores. Of course, people can order online. Of course, people play Magic Arena. It's still going to last, but I still think the bread and butter, I still think the major sales and the of course we'd have to have like Lord of the Rings hype. That was a one and done thing in my opinion. But for the stability of the game, the long term health, I think is the local game store model. And so the online, going back to what I was talking about with the online, we came to this time period where everyone would be like, oh man, LGSs can do this. They can make these decent profits. I can just do them in my basement. And we had so many people just get in on this whole gig of, setting up a quick LLC, setting up a quick reseller's license, starting a little store on TCG Player and eBay, and boom, getting in with a distributor and just being a cash flow operation where you just buy and sell immediately and let the market dictate. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air that I think that model's dying, because you can't just do that. You have to have some sort of emotion. You have to have some sort of skin in the game now with this particular market, because it's so volatile with which products are going to do well and which products are not going to do well. And again, that's going to side on the person that actually is knowledgeable about the game. So anyway, still though, it's interesting because I think we're going to see more events like this, where this was still, I've talked about this in other videos in the past, you can kind of see this. This is I need to hire a maid. We are overloaded with this. I need to get this all out. I apologize to those people that are waiting for this product. I had to wait for like 3 different warehouses to get everything that I wanted, because there wasn't all in one warehouse, of course. And some of those East Coast warehouses take forever to get here. They take like a week and a half to get to us. So anyway, I think I got it all here, but you can see these new Capenna pre-release kits. Tons of those were ordered, tons of this free-for-all game night. Which is funny because it says Evergreen on here, so I'm thinking they were thinking that this was going to be like a product they're going to have long term. But I think the Wizards of the Coast needs to realize that you probably shouldn't do long term products. This is what's kind of making me very weary about, what is that 7-year product? Why can't I think of the Foundations? I don't know how Foundations is going to do. I don't. This is like these games are a lot about kind of this little FOMO. Like it's hot when it's hot. I've noticed as a brewer too. Here's a little bit of a sidestep here. I always wonder, as a brewer in someone that builds decks in Magic the Gathering, that's how I got my start. let's say March of Machines was coming out right now. How many people would be excited to actually build with some of these cards that have seen no play in Standard because they just didn't really, they tried to during March of Machines, but they just didn't fit? How many people, like, what would the meta look like if it wasn't Bloomburrow coming out and people trying new Bloomburrow cards, if it was March of Machines cards coming out and people all of a sudden started with March of Machines cards? And so again, I'm just trying to make the comparison that the excitement only lasts so long for new products. And so having these evergreen products just makes no sense to me. Anyway, I digress. I'm off on a tangent as usual with this video. So yeah, I'm expecting more of these events that are going to happen. So just keep your eyes out on that. And that's why I'm saying this. This is a time that's exciting. Because it's just not a walk in the park. It's not a home run for everyone that just gets in the industry. You just can't be like, okay, I want 100 of these and I'm going to make, a 30% profit margin on all of them because it's just such a bull market, such a, and if that's the case, then you get too many chefs in the kitchen and then everyone just outcompetes each other and then it goes back down to overprinting and printing into speculation and printing into sellers, selling to sellers, and it's a mess. So yeah, it's kind of a breath of fresh air of this sort of thing sort of happening. And again, it's kind of nice too because I can rely on like Bloomburrow doing well and Ixalan doing well and Wilds of Eldraine. And then when these products do stinky, then I think it's going to leave some opportunity for some really amazing buys like this in the future. So my predictions in the next big blowouts of at least Magic the Gathering is I think we're going to see Murders of Karlov Manor be sold for really, really cheap because the market price is just absolutely dismal. I think the distributors are going to get frustrated. They're going to unload or again, how it comes down the pipeline of Wizards of then saying, okay, you can sell this for cheaper to game stores. Maybe they'll do some dumb events like we've seen with the dinosaur-sized drafts to try to get the Murders of Karlov Manor product moving. I think Ravnica Remastered is doing quite terribly. I think we'll start seeing a lot of that come down the pipeline. And there is a few other products and odds and end too. Even Outlaws of Thunder Junction that might end up becoming on these sales. So keep your eye out for them because I think there's more coming to this. So if you missed out on this particular sale, I think there's more that are coming. So that's kind of my topic too that I was talking to Zach. Like what's more of a scenario, a likely scenario of so a lot of this stuff, what's in here? So we got these evergreen, we have these pre-release packs that we paid half for. They're like 50% off. We have the, what was in here? There's like New Capenna collectors, or New Capenna drafts. That was like the really good sale. So New Capenna drafts for $60. What's the more likely situation? So right now you're paying $125 for play boosters, $120 to $125 for play boosters. What's the more likely scenario? Is a Bloomburrow play booster going to go up to $250? Or is a New Capenna draft booster going to recover back from $60 up to, $100, $110? And in my opinion, I think just with the reality of inflation and the reality of everything costing more and just the money supply is just going to, everything needs to correct itself. And basically, prices are going to go up for the things that used to be cheap just to match products that are currently out there. And so people are used to paying $100 for draft. I think that New Capenna eventually, that's the more likely scenario, that New Capenna draft booster boxes will go back up to the 80s, 90s, $100, then something like a really hot play booster like Bloomburrow or Ixalan or Wilds of Eldraine will go up to like the $200 mark. And so I think that this is very neat too because, a lot of people that don't, the emotionless cash flow businesses, I don't think they're going to be able to see these type of products and know when to get in on them. And so again, it's just a breath of fresh air that it finally feels like a market that, it's like not everyone's a surgeon now. So surgeons can be surgeons again, and we can actually make a living off of it. So for me, it's a kind of a breath of fresh air with how the market is turning out, which is what it should be. There are way too many cooks in the kitchen of that era of everyone wanting to be an online seller. So anyway, like I said, I've got a lot of work to do here with all the product that has come in. I just wanted to show you my messy back that all this is going to get out. I'm going to get all out tomorrow, so I got to get some work done and get these suckers. A lot of this stuff is so bulky, but yeah, it's a very interesting time period to be in the LGS market. And I don't know, this is my second time recording this video because I started rambling on the first one. Now I can't remember what I talked about in this video versus the one before. But again, quick update with everything. Everything's going pretty smooth with stuff. Like we've come to a pretty good equilibrium. And oh man, that's refreshing. That's a lot more refreshing than, like I said, the massive bull run that we had where I couldn't get product and everyone was so upset I couldn't get the product. So what's the point of even coming into the store if you don't have it, blah, blah, blah. And then the opposite effect happening of like, geez, I'm not going to pay this price for it. I'm like, oh, I got to sell it for that. Otherwise, I'm not going to order it because if I can't make profit off of it. So anyway, that's where I'm at. you can see I got a lot to do. So thanks for everyone sticking by and being here for my little powwow. Thanks for watching.